The forest was unusually silent that day. The wind whispered through the leaves, carrying secrets only the trees could hear. The birds, usually noisy and playful, had vanished. Even the sound of Rafiq's axe striking wood felt muffled, as if the forest itself was listening. Rafiq, a humble woodcutter, wiped his brow and picked up the logs he had gathered. Just as he turned to leave, something caught his eye. A narrow, winding path covered in thick moss and tangled roots. His heart skipped a beat. He had been chopping wood in this forest since childhood, yet he had never seen this path before. Where did it lead? And why did the air around it feel so unnatural? Then, a strange sound drifted through the trees. Rafiq! He froze. Had someone called his name? His pulse quickened, but his feet moved on their own, following the path deeper into the unknown. Little did he know, his life was about to change forever. The deeper he walked, the darker the forest became. The trees loomed over him like silent watchers, their branches twisting into strange shapes. The air grew colder, heavier. Then he reached it. A massive boulder sat before him, covered in thick vines. It seemed like a dead end, until he noticed a faint glow seeping through the cracks. With trembling hands, he pushed aside the vines, revealing the entrance to a cave. A cold breeze rushed out, carrying a whisper. Enter. Rafiq hesitated. His instincts screamed at him to turn back, but his curiosity was stronger. Taking a deep breath, he stepped inside. The cave was dimly lit by strange, glowing stones embedded in the walls. In the center stood a grand mirror, tall, ancient, its golden frame covered in unfamiliar symbols. The glass shimmered like liquid silver, swirling as if alive. Rafiq's breath caught in his throat. Then, to his horror, his reflection blinked. He stumbled back, his heart pounding. His reflection did not move with him. Instead, it smiled. Then, in a deep, echoing voice, it spoke. Rafiq, the kind-hearted woodcutter, you have found the mirror of fate. I grant you one wish, but be warned. What you receive will reflect the truth in your heart. Choose wisely. Rafiq's mind raced. A wish. He could wish for gold, a grand palace, or even to be a king. But then, he thought of his village, his starving neighbors, the dry fields, his frail mother. He took a deep breath and spoke. I wish for my village to never suffer again, for everyone to have food, warmth, and happiness. The mirror shimmered. A powerful gust of wind rushed through the cave. The glowing stones flickered wildly. Rafiq shielded his eyes, and when he looked again, the mirror was gone. Rafiq ran back to the village, his heart pounding. Had the wish worked? As he stepped into the village, his breath caught in his throat. The once barren fields were now overflowing with golden crops. The river, which had nearly dried up, now roared with fresh, clear water. Fruit trees had appeared overnight, their branches heavy with ripe apples, mangoes, and pomegranates. Villagers stood in shock, touching the earth, their eyes wide with disbelief. This is a miracle, an old woman cried. Rafiq's mother embraced him, tears in her eyes. My son, what have you done? Rafiq smiled, his heart swelling with joy. But he had no idea what price he had paid. Days passed, and the village thrived. But Rafiq did not. At first, it was small things. He felt more tired than usual. His hands trembled when he held his axe. Then, it got worse. His strength faded. His once powerful arms could barely lift a log. His legs felt weak, as if something was draining him from within. One night, as he drifted into uneasy sleep, he had a dream. The mirror appeared before him in the darkness. For every joy you have given, you must bear its burden. The village flourishes, but you will wither like autumn leaves. This is the price of selflessness. Rafiq woke up in a cold sweat. Now, he understood. His life was slowly fading, so that the village could thrive. Determined to find answers, Rafiq returned to the forest. He retraced his steps, searching for the hidden cave. But when he reached the spot, the cave was gone. The vines, the glowing stones, the mirror, everything had disappeared, as if it had never existed. Desperate, he searched for days, but the mysterious path had vanished. There was no way to undo his wish. The villagers soon noticed Rafiq's decline and were heartbroken when they learned the truth. "No, Rafiq," they said. "You will not bear this burden alone." They took turns caring for him, bringing him food, keeping him warm, and ensuring he never suffered alone. Though his body grew frail, his heart was full, knowing his sacrifice had saved his people. But the story was not over yet. One stormy night, as Rafiq lay weak in his bed, he had another vision. The mirror appeared once more, but something was different. The swirling silver turned dark, almost black. And then, from within the glass, something moved, a shadow. It had no face, only glowing red eyes. Your wish was selfless, but now another price must be paid. Rafiq's blood turned to ice. "What do you mean?" he whispered. "The mirror does not grant wishes freely. A balance must be maintained. One day, the happiness given will be taken back, in another way." Rafiq tried to scream, but the shadow lunged forward, and he woke up. His heart pounded. Was it just a dream? Or had he glimpsed something far worse? Years passed, and Rafiq's body weakened, but his legend grew. Songs were sung about the woodcutter who sacrificed himself for his people, but the warning of the mirror never left his mind.